So I think we are ready to start. We are expecting that more people will be joining, but I think we can start now. First, many thanks that you are participating today. I think it has been great, the response that we have had lately for the event. So we are really happy that you are today with us. And because a picture says more than 1,000 words, it is said we want here to share. We are super happy. We think that we have a very good very good panelists today, very good speakers. So we are expecting that you are going to have as well some learnings today, and we are going to have a very good after party in which we're going to be sharing more about ourselves, about the experience that we have, about the experience of the speakers. So we want to keep obviously fluidity during the presentation, but we wanted as well to have a kind of a structure for you to know what will be coming. So we will have now some minutes for the welcoming, followed by the three speakers. We have already put some time for questions and answers. And after that, we are expecting around 8 o'clock, 8:10, that we are able to start with our after party. More details about the after party and why is it important for you to stay for that will come a bit later. If there is, I forgot to comment, sorry, if there is any comment or any question that you have, you can always use the button of comments that you are able to find here in Zoom. Otherwise, you can raise your hand and we will make sure that we are getting your questions and your comments. As I commented here, we're going to start now with the welcoming part. So we are going to share a bit what are the expectations that we are going to have today. So what you can expect from us, what we can expect from you, and to give a bit the rules of the game. So for that, we want as well to share first what is the background of the event, let's say. There is a small connection with this picture because these are a group of friends in Mexico that got together one night in 2012, and they went basically for some drinks to a bar. They were drinking that night mezcal. I don't know if you know mezcal, but mezcal is actually, I would call it a better version of tequila. This is my personal point of view. So I hope that after the event you have the chance to try mezcal, otherwise do it in the next days. After that, I am sure that you are going to think almost the same. But yeah, the important thing is that they were in this bar together. They were drinking some mezcal, and at some point they realized we do share a lot of stories in our life with our friends at work, at home. But normally these stories are about success, which is good. We actually like and we should celebrate success. But it was a question, why do we give so much importance to success and not to failure, for example? Knowing that from failure, our own failure and the failure of others, that we are able to learn as well. So they went on this discussion. Each of them shared one story of failure, and they found that it was actually quite liberating. They felt vulnerable, but they felt as well in a safe space in which they could share this story of failure. And they found it a bit like a catharsis. So they were able to release and at the same time to learn from the others. So they decided to do this event 2 weeks after. And for that event, they invited more friends. So basically each of these 5 friends was bringing more friends. The forum was bigger, obviously. And they decided then to take 3 speakers out of them to perform the event. And this is basically the same format that we are keeping now. We are having 3 speakers as well in a very similar structure, let's say. So this environment should be a safe environment. We should be feeling safe here to share and to learn. And basically that was the beginning of FuckUp. I know that when we think of FuckUp, there are some people who might think, it's a kinky name, what is it about? So the FuckUp basically is coming from the idea we are acknowledging that we make mistakes, we take them, we learn out of them, and we promote that we share more about them. In that first event, there were people participating from different cities, even from different countries. So that is how the concept started moving to other countries. Now we can say that we are present, the concept as event, it is present in more than 300 cities around the world, meaning more than 90 countries. So this is quite an event concept that has been gone, has grown quite quickly in the world. And as I commented, the aim today is that we are able to learn from each other, that we accept failure, that we learn from that, and that we promote a culture in which failure is tolerated and is promoted, because at the end, that is learning as well. We are a team of 3 people organizing the event here in Frankfurt. Özgür, Katya, myself. Özgür and Katya, they will be joining in the after party, so you will have the chance as well to get to know them better. What I can say is that FuckUp existed already in Germany before. There was a small break in between. Now we got a chance to bring it back. We are really happy to have done so. And about me, maybe you're already thinking, oh, Alejandro, that sounds a bit Spanish, that sounds maybe a bit Latin. Well, I am actually from Mexico. It's a very long story, but I came from Mexico to the UK, and from the UK I moved here to Germany. It has been around 9 years that I have been here in Germany, about 4 in Frankfurt. I really like the city, and now I feel really like a Frankfurter, I would say. And a bit of my professional background. I am a food scientist. So that sounds very, very technical, and it is indeed. In the later time, I have moved more into project management, and actually I found this picture that you see there as a very good example of project management, because basically as project manager, your work is to motivate people to work together to reach objectives. That is how I see it. And maybe you are thinking now as well, what does it have to do with FuckUp nights? Why are you interested coming from a technical project management background to this kind of events? Well, I have to say, from my personality, I am a bit like Speedy Gonzalez. And actually a lot of my friends, very close friends, call me like that. I didn't tell them to do that. They started doing that because they tell me, you normally are very accelerated. You are running from here to there. You are doing different stuff. So this is one of the opportunities that came on the way, on our way as Orga team. And we are very, very excited that we have the chance to work on this challenge. That's enough about me. So basically, I will be supporting with the moderation during this event. The main part, obviously, are the speakers. We are moving to that part in the next minutes. But first, we want as well to say big thanks to the sponsors for this event. So the first one is Cana. Cana is a Mexican social enterprise. They are working with women in prisons. I will make it very generic, but basically how it works: they go to the prisons, they train women who are interested in participating in this kind of projects, they train them on handcrafting, they provide the material, they provide the know-how, they sell the products that are done by the women in the prisons. I personally find it a very interesting social enterprise, because here you are really seeing it's not a company can have as well a very strong social background. Our second sponsor is Givetastic. I found as well this idea and this project very, very interesting in a very high level way. Givetastic is an app that is basically matching NGOs or organizations that are looking, or social enterprises that are looking for funding, with founders that are looking for social projects. So it's again social enterprising. They want to have investment. So the investors are looking for companies to invest, and Givetastic is the matching platform, let's say. We're going to have a bit more of background to both, because they are part as well of the presentations from the speakers. And finally, we have Frankfurt Valley, which I think it's very known here in the region, Rhine-Main, Frankfurt, Hessen in general. So Frankfurt Valley is a platform to provide, it's a platform to bring different stakeholders from different backgrounds, let's say, so companies, NGOs, startups, labs that are working with startups, so startup labs. They provide a platform in which information is shared, in which creativity, entrepreneurship, enterprising is shared, and their aim is to provide an open forum for events like the one that we are having today, and to match as well different stakeholders in the startup scene, let's say. Having said that, I will just make a short description what we would like you to do, or how you can support us during this event. We call them the golden rules. So firstly, we would like you to be open-minded. I think this kind of event, as I commented, it's a very open event. So be open-minded, challenge if you want to challenge something. Participate. We have right now about 48 participants. So it will be great if you are participating. We make as well the event more agile. For that, I will explain you how to do that. And the final one, as I commented, I will not be promoting that you alcoholism, but you are very, very welcome to have a beverage next to you or in your fridge, so that we are having a good time. And again, this is part of the concept that we are in a safe, in a chilled environment. So having said that, I will just explain briefly a technical part from the Zoom, from the tool. We have the opportunity to see your questions or your comments in two ways. So the first one is chat. That should be used for general comments you would like to do between attendees or with the speakers, regarding questions to the speakers and to their FuckUp stories. You can use the Q&A bubble that you see here. I think majority of you have been working already in home office for a long time, so you might know already Zoom, but just for you to know. So I think we are very excited now to start with the real event. And for that, I will let Daniela start.
Thank you so much, Alejandro, for the introduction. Can everyone hear me okay? I'm really happy to be here and to share my story. So about 8 years ago, I was having late dinner with my friends when suddenly I saw my phone and I saw that I had 26 missed calls from my dad. I got so worried. It was 2 in the morning and I called him back immediately. Daniela, where are you? He sounded furious. Dad, I'm having dinner with my friends. Why are you so mad? I told you. Oh my God, I just had a call saying that they had you kidnapped. And if I didn't give them the money, they were going to kill you. This wasn't the first time someone called my home saying that a family member was kidnapped, including my dad's grandchildren, which he didn't have at the moment. So he knew they were obviously lying, handled it relatively well, and hanged up the phone. But that didn't keep him from being scared to death the hour that I didn't pick up the phone. Dad, you know how these extortion calls are, I said. Just don't pick up the phone. I promise I'm safe and I'll be back home soon. So I hanged up the phone and I just told my friend what had just happened. And no one seemed surprised. Instead, they all started sharing stories about how something similar had happened to them, And then we jumped to another conversations about how we have been victims of more serious crimes. Someone's aunt had been kidnapped. Someone had just been mugged. Someone was robbed in her own house. And we just kept on talking like if nothing ever happened. And I remember that night going to bed thinking how unbelievable it all had been. Not only because my dad had got that call, but how in Mexico we've completely normalized crime, and stories about extortion, robbery, and assault were just part of our dinner conversations. Later, life got me to experience crime from a whole new different perspective by visiting a prison. The first time I went to a prison, I was a law student, and we were there as part of a class. We had to give legal counseling to women who were in prison. But to be honest, I was 22 years old. I didn't know much about criminal law. So instead of advising anyone legally, I just started talking to these women and I listened to their stories. And in that visit, I learned that Mexican prison had 2 nicknames. Both were terrible, but were pretty accurate. And the first one is the University of Crime, because people that get into prison have better chances to become better criminals or expand their criminal organizations than to actually learn new skills with which they can earn a living away from crime and violence. And the second nickname was the most expensive hotel in the world, because inmates had to pay for absolutely everything, from having access to food, clean water, receiving visits, making a call, purchasing things such as shampoo, soap, going out to the patio, absolutely everything you can imagine. So basically, I learned that prison was reproducing the exact same context of poverty and violence that got women into prison in the first place. And inside, there were no reintegration programs, no employment opportunities, no legal options to earn an income. So women were recurring to crime again as a source of income. And this is how La Cana was born, as a project to bring incarcerated women productive activities with which they could earn an income away from crime and violence.
Daniela, sorry for interrupting. I think we are not seeing your slides.
Sorry.
It's okay.
But I think you have control of my screen, so I can't share it.
Can you try, please?
Let me check. Okay.
Nice to have
Can
a
you see it
FuckUp
now?
already.
Can you see them?
Yes.
Okay, so this was my first slide, this was my second slide, this was my third slide, and I'm here now. Can you see them? Okay. So inside prison, I saw that many women could knit, but they needed products that honestly you would buy because you wanted to support them, not really because you liked them. So I decided to bring them different designs, other products that would be easily commercialized on the outside and that I could help them sell. They could make it on the inside, and I could help them sell those products with my friends and acquaintances and give them the money. So I went next week to the prison. I bought them yarn, I bought them filling, and I gave it to them hoping that they would make something beautiful out of it that I could help them sell. And it was a complete mess. The week after I left the yarn, I came back to realize that not only they did things that I really didn't like, and it was completely far from what I had imagined, but some of them didn't even use the yarn to make something. They would steal it. They would exchange it they would exchange it in exchange for favors, and some of them need scarves for themselves, and they really didn't care that I have bought that material from my own savings because I wanted to help. And I kept going for like a couple of months after that, and things didn't go as planned. So I imagined myself some beautiful products, and this is what I got instead if I got something and they wouldn't steal the yarn. So I was getting really frustrated that things weren't going as planned. And out of nothing, one day, a lady called me and said that she wanted 50 knitted teddy bears to give out for the guests for her daughter's baby shower. But honestly, at the moment, I really wanted to continue with the project. But anyway, I said, okay, this is the last chance I'll give them. And I bought yarn again. I bought filling again. And I went to the prison and said, okay, I need 50 knitted teddy bears. for next week. I'll come back next Friday. And if you don't give them, or you give me something that is not pretty for me, then this is the last time that you will see me, and I'll never come back again because I'm trying to help and you're simply not letting me. So I waited the whole week expecting the worst. And when I came back the next week for the teddy bears, I found that they've done it. And they were all beautiful and perfectly handmade. And I got so happy that finally my idea was starting to take shape. And so I thanked them, I paid them. And when I was about to go, they said, "Hey, Danny, did you bring by any chance extra filling?" And I said, "No, why? Wasn't it enough? I see that you were able to make the 50 teddy bears." And they said, "No, we ran out of filling. And we had to grab filling from our pillows and our cushions. And now we don't have a place to sleep." And at that moment was a complete shock for me. I realized that because of my lack of experience, I had left 5 women in prison with no pillows or cushions. And it's not the same that if any regular person sleeps without a pillow every once in a while. We're talking about prison, where having a pillow and a cushion is the only luxury you might have. And that moment also showed me the importance of the work I was doing and the commitment these women had to the project, because they were willing to give away their cushions and the pillows, and they were willing to sleep on the floor where there are rats and cockroaches, just to make sure that I would come back and continue to provide them as a source of income. But it also showed me that I had behaved completely unprofessional, because I was a lawyer. I had obviously no experience in manufacturing processes whatsoever. I had no experience in design. I was 22 years old, dealing with women who had been through serious suffering in their lives, and I didn't even realize that. I just went to the prison without asking them what they wanted to work on or what they needed or how I could help them. I was just thinking about me and how I thought and what I thought was best for them. I was also not asking anyone expert for advice on how I should calculate raw materials to manufacture a specific product, which led me to directly affect the well-being of 5 women who had to sleep on the prison floor for more than a week because of my responsibility. So from that experience, I also learned that I am not a designer and I shouldn't try to be one. To always, absolutely always ask for advice in subjects that you have no idea about, and surround yourself with people that know better in areas that you don't. Also, that if all the people that you're working with are not achieving the results you're expecting, then probably you're the one with the leadership or the communication problem. And most importantly, when you're working with vulnerable population, ask them what they need, not what you think they need. From that day, we have created an extraordinary team of 163 women working in 4 prisons, where we manufacture and sell more than 20,000 products a year. We also implemented a mental health program to complement these job training activities and support women in a holistic way through the reintegration process. And I'm thankful for this FuckUp because it has led me to where we are today. And by the way, I hired someone to make sure that our products will never again be filled with prison pillows. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Daniela. Well, I think we already discussed when we met the first time. I mean, it was more or less a coincidence that I came to know about you and La Cana. And personally, I felt like it's a great example. It works. So it can be a company. It can have as well a strong social background or social context. And I think it's an example that it works, and that you have this kind of work with people who are especially vulnerable because they are in the prison, right? So what can you really do there if you are not having this kind of income? So yeah, I personally, we are super happy that you took the time to participate today. So
Well,
I think,
thank you for the invitation.
thank you. Now I think it will be the time for questions and comments. So for that, you can use the box F&A. I am sure that there are some good questions in the forum. Meanwhile, I will start, Daniela. So we give some people some time to the people to write the questions.
Sure.
From your point of view, what will be the next step for you? So Cana, I think now you are quite established in the work that you are doing. Do you have any idea what could be the next step for you?
Sure. Well, we've replicated this model in 4 prisons already in Mexico, and we are now in the process of becoming a social impact franchise. So we can replicate our model in other states or other countries, including. And we also want to expand the market and maybe reach other markets like in the United States or internationally.
Cool. I think it will work very good. Yeah. There are some questions that came already. So the first one is from Carla Ticona, and it is, well, you can see the questions as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I can answer them. They asking about how do we finance the materials. As Alejandro told you, we're a social enterprise. So it's like sort of a hybrid between a nonprofit and a for-profit. So we finance all the projects with the sales of these products. So approximately 30 to 40% of the sales of the product goes to the women that made it, and the rest to the operative and selling general and administrative expenses, which includes the purchase of raw materials. Yes, I agree that working with vulnerable population is sometimes complicated because, as I said, you have to really not think that you know everything and you know they are living and what's their position, what are their beliefs. You have to ask them, because I am not part of that population. I have not lived what they've been through. So you can't just assume that you know everything and that you know how to address the problems that they're living. How old am I? Today's my birthday. I'm turning 30 today.
Wow, congrats.
Thank you.
And I think there was one at the very top. Maybe I would say we can take one or two so that we don't.
Yes. How exactly was the process of finding the idea? It was really, as I told you briefly, I started when I was a law student. It really didn't, this project wasn't, to be honest, born with the idea that it was something that I would dedicate to full time. It was sort of something that we wanted to do to help these women, like a side project. And then we started, we realized that we were really passionate about the project and that it was growing really fast. And it took us like 2 years to realize that we needed to work full time on this and that this was our job now. So the idea started like evolving. We started with one product, and then we started with knitting and then embroidering, and now we've incorporated like a whole new line, which, by the way, I invite you to see all the products. I will leave my website and my social media in the comments. Also, Alejandro, if someone asks you, please feel free to give them my contact. If someone has further questions, I'll be happy to answer later. Yes, about the examples of women who turned around their lives, fortunately, we have a lot of success stories, which also we share a lot of in our social media. We have women that actually are studying law now, that work with us, continue on the outside, continue working with us, selling our products. I have women that work in restaurants, that work in hotels, that started their own businesses. There are incredible stories of women that work with us and have took like a different path in their lives, and now they are economically independent, and they really are an example to me.
I think there is still a last one. I think we can take that one, and if there are more questions, we can take them then in the party.
Well, we have a series of protocols now, and we, like I said, now we have experts that they know, like, if I give you this amount of yarn, you have to give me this product. So we weigh the product, so it's the same. And of course, now we have lockers in the prison with a key, and only the person that's in charge of like giving out the material is allowed to enter that workshop or the office and has a key. and we have like a couple of security measures. We work closely with the prison authorities to make sure that no one can steal the yarn, because unfortunately it is a common thing that happens.
Many thanks, Daniela, again. I would say I am sure that there are maybe some other questions or comments that we can keep them for the after party. And now we are ready to start with Ronald, who is our next speaker. Do you take the control, Ronald?
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. So, yeah, my name is Ronald. I am a Peruvian engineer. I have been working abroad for a while. So before we go into the topic, I want to let you something a little bit about myself. I was born in Peru in a very conflicted time. Despite that, because I was a kid and I was a lot into numbers and science, I went easily, nicely, and happily through the school and university until the time came when I landed my first job, and when that one with all the fun started. This is a very well-known picture of my country, and this is what my first job looked like. So this was my first crew, my first partners that I work with. And the one on the right is Sergio. He's now my business partner in the brewery, one of my business partners in the brewery. And this, despite what it may look like, it was no regular job in a normal factory. It was a very kind of different job. Every 5 weeks, I would go to work offshore in one of these vessels that is a seismic exploration vessel. So basically what we do, we went offshore to look for oil reservoirs. And yeah, I did that for almost 5 years. I was working in a very exciting environment. There was a lot of high technology, and this was what my right to work looked like. I also had the chance to visit very nice places. I went to Kuala Lumpur and to different countries that I enjoy very much. And then, like if I had not planned it, it seems very completely different to what I was doing before 2014. I found myself working in an office in Germany in a setup that looks pretty much like this. So for the ones, my friends had asked me a lot. So for the ones that in the audience, I questioning themselves, how do you trade one job that was pretty much on the field to a normal 8 to 5 job in an office? But what I had in my head, I was not longing for the office. I was not longing for the desk or the suit or the coffee. What I would really wanted to do is to go back to what I liked during school. So basically, this is what is this is me. I like the research. I like to study. I like to know things, and this is what I wanted. So after I finished university, I landed a job in fast-moving consumer goods in a large company in Germany, and I worked there for almost 2 years until I felt that it was the time for me to change environment again. And then just 1 year after, or almost 2 years after, I did not stay that long in that job for different circumstances. 2016, I found myself back in my country running a brewery. I was, of course, I like the product. I have been drinking it since I have the legal age to do it. And yeah, but what I like the most about it was not the product itself alone, but again, what lies behind it. I love the science behind it, the biochemistry, the chemistry, the refrigeration and everything. And I love to have the opportunity to work again in a science-based job. And when that happened, it came the perfect setup for the biggest fuck up that I have in my life, one of the most expensive ones, and also the one that has let me the most of learning. So what happened is that when I put the team together, I met with a person that I hired to be together with me, the production planner, and to take care of everything related to the production. He came across like a very intelligent person, which I think he was. And then he came also with the right credentials. He was like in the workforce for 2 years, and I end up hiring him. I hired for the credentials. I hired for what he knew. So he came across like a smart person. He knew his stuff, and then we start working on the project, and everything went well. 1 year after, we end up having a factory. We had everything. Um, he said that we needed, and everything was nice until one day. By his own accord, he decided to go to another company. So I forgot to tell you, when we had that and everything was going well, and we decided what to do with the money that we have. We have the production set up, so we said, okay, we are going to improve the distribution. We're going to improve the marketing. We're going to improve the sales channels. So we took the money that we have and we put it in those different jars just to improve the other parts that were not related to production. And then when this person came, I found the big fucked up that I had made. No, this is the factory that we had, and this is the factory that we needed. We were missing a piece of equipment that we needed basically to ensure the long-term quality of our products. It was not affecting the customer now, but it was a risk to keep it going like that. Just a control system that were not that we were not missing right now, but they were meant to detect any flaw on the system. And when that happened, it was a very shocking moment for me, because I did not know that we were missing that. And at that moment, we were already distributed the money, and I realized that we were missing some equipment in the production side. And then that makes things slow down, everything is slowed down, because we had, and allow me to go back to the previous one, we were now short of money. That was a big problem for me. It was a big shocking, because I realized how misled my judgment was related to where we were in the company. And that's what brought me to reflect a lot on what I have been doing wrong. And then I realized I came to set up a plan on how I'm going to fix this and how I'm going to assure that this never happen again. And this is the solution. The solution is to be always involved. And the best way to do it, if you are in a leading position, if you are the head of your business, is to go through this whole process of mentoring, not in one part of the business, but in every part of the business. You need to get involved in absolutely everything. But as Daniela mentioned before, you need to hire the right people for the right places, or you need to go to consultants. So you need to make sure that you are not lacking any skills, any knowledge. And either if they are contractors, outside contractors, and either if they are people on your payroll, you need to make sure that you remain involved in the topics. And that's a very difficult one. This is a very a nice picture, but I think it's missing. And all of the management documents that nowadays talk about mentoring, they're missing something that is called, it's very basic. What I think is the way to solve this is that the supervision. You need to be involved, but you need to stay in supervision and not doing it in a way that it may sound like a micromanaging. And the agile methodologies have found a way to do that. It's basically through the Scrum method, where you have a daily sprint, a daily review, where you get together with your people and you talk them what the problem is, where the roadblocks are, and what you are going to do to solve them. So for the ones, and the funny thing and the awful thing about this is that I knew this very well. I knew this very well, but I just, for some stupid reason, I decided not to apply it, because I also made another mistake at the very beginning, that I sized the business too big. I should have started a little bit smaller. But once that's done, I was left with very little time to make supervision and a very little time to set up these processes that were necessary. So this is my take up for you. So this is what I would like you to leave this this presentation, reminding that you should always establish the processes that you could define what success look like, and that you can review this currently. And another big one is that always hire potential. Do not hire what the people know, hire the more or less certainty that this person has the tools, the ability, the methodologies that he or she is going to learn what needs to be learned, especially if it's something new. And if you want to do an innovative company, that's the way. So there's a big difference between potential and credentials. Always go for credentials. And there is also a big difference between character and skill. Always go for skill. And I assure you that if you do that, if you pay attention to the process that you need to run, the supervision that you need to have, you pair that with the proper communication, so it will not be taken by the people that you're leading as a micromanaging. If you communicate it properly, you are going to be able to transform an idea to product, and you will be able to convert emptiness to a place. This is actually our facility in Trujillo. We have a facility in 1,000 square meters that allows us to produce beer comfortably, and you will be able to build something to last. So after this big FuckUp, we organized our using this agile methodology. We implemented right away, and now we are all of our processes are flowing nicely, and we are just set up to expand to the rest of the country, which we were not confident before because we didn't have this equipment and processes in place that we do have now. We are one of the most recognized brands locally, I would say even in the region, and now we are ready for the expansion. So after a big FuckUp, also come a big learning, and yeah, that's what I wanted to share with you, and I'm ready for your questions.
So thank you, Ronald. Thank you for your FuckUp. There are indeed some questions already, but there is one I would like to start with. This is a personal one because I think you have the topic of micromanagement, and we know as well when people people are different, right? So there are people who are okay with micromanagement or can understand that there is micromanagement supervision. There are some people who really avoid it, they don't like it. So you commented that there is a very fine line between involvement and micromanagement. I totally agree with you. How would you, what would you think now out of your story? Where is this fine line? So when do you know that you are involved but not micromanaging?
I think you can see, you have to be very open about it and very human, I would say. I mean, you can notice the expression of the people, you can notice the reaction as soon as you communicate. But for everything that is related to communication, the communication to business and to life, and I think there is even a book written about that topic. You have to start with why. So if you are going to implement some sort of supervision, some sort of a sprint review, whatever you call it, you have to communicate why. And you need to communicate, if we don't do this, we're going to fail. If you communicate that openly to your employees, it's going to open a whole new world of opportunities for open communication. You make them part of the game, you make them part of the law. Because if you don't implement it, it's going to fail anyway. So just go open and tell them, if we don't do this, we're going to fail. And if we fail, we're going to lose market share. And if we lose market share, either we all are going to lose our job, or we are all going to lose the opportunities for improvement. So you have to be open about that. You have to be honest. We have to write these things down, because it's not working that we talk about this. We need to have them stick on a wall with post-it. We need to have processes written. We need to have checklists. And basically what we have done, and it have done it, do things better now in Costera, is that we have 3 levels of knowledge. So we have instruction guides, we have processes, SOP, a standard SOP, I think that's the way they call it in most of the companies, and we have checklists. And with that instruction and with open communication, there is no supervision that is felt as micromanaging. And you need also you have to be honest that this is the way you want to run your company, and then you need to find the profile that fits your company. And if that person does not fill this profile, it's good that he or she leaves the company. I mean, I also found that a hard call, but it's a win-win for everybody at the end of the day. Then the people that stays with you, you know that everybody speaks the same language, everybody's on the same page. And yeah, it's basically like selecting a football team. You want to win, you have to pick your winning team. And whoever is out, well, you find them playing in another team, and that's fine.
It's about communication, it's about honesty, it's about alignment. What is the value of the company? What are the objectives of the company with the profile of the person, if I understand correctly?
Exactly.
Okay, so I will move now to the questions that are there. So the first one is, do you think that there are some things that cannot be taught? Cannot be taught?
I think the only thing that cannot be taught is the thing that the person do not want to learn. One of the examples that I can give you that I have noticed a lot, that it has been one of the findings, the shocking findings that I have found, shocking for me, because the way I think and I process the world is that some people are not comfortable in leading or supervising positions. And that is a biggie, because normally you can find a very technical person, but he or she does not want to take the responsibility for being the boss of a department, for example. And that thing, if the person does not want to learn it, it's a very difficult that you are going to achieve that. Either is it a soft skill or a core skill? If the person does not want, then it's very difficult. Apart from that, everything can be learned, I believe. Everything can be learned. Only the things that do not want. And to find the right alignment is the job of the manager, of the job or the CEO or whatever you want to call him. You have to find the manager. And I'm now I can say I'm a lot better at that. I even could say that I'm really good. When I go into an interview, I actually try to disencourage the person from joining the company. I try to actively disencourage them. I'll tell you this is like this, like that. I actually spend more time on what could be the conflict points or the hard points, because now I know that the people that leaves is the person that is going to leave anyway. And now I'm staying with the people that is more aligned with the way we run the company, and that's the way I think it works. Everything can be learned. Only cannot be learned what the other person do not want to learn.
True. So I move then to the next question. Are the empty bottles being reused or the glass recycled? How, as a startup, could you organize the logistics?
This is a big one, and this is a very awesome question. For if you are a small company, I think you should have to forget about Excel. Now there is a wide option of ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning software, where you can digitize all your processes. Some processes you will not be able to digitize, but most of them, the ones you need to start, you are going to be able to. So you have to, because you will not have the time to spend the time on an Excel organizing stuff, organizing the logistics, inventory, sales, consumer relationship management. If you're doing it in Excel, you are doing it wrong, because someone else is using already an ERP, and he or she using ERP is doing in 1 hour what it takes you 3 days on Excel. So yes, everything can be organized.
And the part of the question was as well recycling, reusage of glass, specifically because you're working with glass. So do you feel that it is a challenge for small companies, or is something that you are considering right now?
No, I think no small company in the brewing business or in the bottling business, either if you're brewing, even if you're bottling water, whatever that is, and if you're small, there is no solution affordable for a small company for washing bottles. So basically what we do is for our business partners, for our clients that do not recycle, and the recycle that we do is that actually we take the glass and we take it to a glass, a second-hand glass buyer. That's what we do. That's our how we manage environmentally this part. But we do not reuse the bottles. And I can tell you with 99% certainty that no small company is washing bottles, because there is no, as far as I know, I mean, if someone in the audience knows, please let me know. There is no economic solution for washing bottles.
So you're using then recycled material?
No, we use all new, and the bottles that we have used, we give them to a glass company that make them bits and pieces, and they make glass again.
Okay, cool. So there are two questions, but I would say we combine them because I think they go in quite the same direction. So the first one is about one person who is describing him or herself as a young engineer, and he or she is not receiving mentoring or coaching from the line manager. What would you suggest in that situation? And the second question, which I think we can try to put together, is regarding building trust in your team. So I don't know if maybe you can try to give a generic answer for both.
Yeah, so first with the boss, if your boss is not coaching you, you should be open and talk about it. I would say that if the company is the company that you dream for, if the company is doing the stuff that you wanted to do, you should try really hard to stay on the company. Bear with that boss for as long as you want until you manage to change. I mean, I have quit when I left the oil industry. I left quitting that it was okay. I thought it was okay. Then I went to work in another field. I thought that the oil industry was very well organized. It was very well efficient. And whoever that says that it's not, it has not worked in anything else, honestly. They have so much money that they could organize for a good learning. They could organize for good stuff. What I meant to say is that you have to go and talk with your boss. Don't quit your job, because the green always looks greener in the opposite hill. The green always looks greener. You think it is going to be better, but you do not know. So just bear with it. And I think this is part of growing up. You get more temperate, so your reactions are like that. So you have to talk to your boss. Talk if it's possible. Talk with someone else that can help you. If there is a union, I know that in Germany there are unions where employees are allowed to talk to them in an open environment to bring some issues, and without affecting your performance review, for example. So do that, I would suggest. Whatever is going to help you to convince you. The second part, I forgot, Alejandro. Can you repeat that? The second part of the question?
Briefly regarding team building.
I think what I told you, to be open, we now have this sprint review. We have every day without fault. We do not start with the daily meeting of what is being going on, and that, I think, it brings a lot of openness, and that it makes everything, all the supervision welcoming, and all the mentoring welcoming. The people welcome when they understand that this is necessary. And fortunately, you will have examples to make it. We're talking about this because this happened yesterday. We're talking about this because this happened last week. And we are going to continue talking about this even when these things are gone, because these things are happening because we're human and we are open to make mistakes. So we have to keep the practice of reminding us not to make mistakes to make our operation efficient.
Thank you, Ronald, and to the participants. If you still have some questions, we will have then time in the after party to have more time, let's say, to discuss them. So before we move to Vidya, I wanted now to use the forum to ask you. You have now heard two stories of FuckUp. Maybe you are already thinking, hey, I have had maybe it's a failure story, maybe there is a short failure story you had today. So if you could say, I fuck it up today, small or a big thing, maybe think about it. You can write as well on the chat, hey, I made this mistake today, maybe this was my fuck up. And we can then go a bit into the discussion once we finalize the next story from Vidya. And having said that, then I will give the control to you, Vidya. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, I just 1 second. Are you able to see my screen and able to hear me? Okay. So hi everybody. Whoever is in the participant list, I am coming you from Heidelberg, and I'm drinking a beer from Heidelberg. So just to give you a kind of like orientation. Yeah, so I'm very excited to be in this fuck up night mode, and I'm going to start my timer so that I don't overdo my time. 1 second. All right. Yeah, I want to share my fuck up with you. It's a story, I will call it Summer of Love experience in the Silicon Valley, because it happened in the Silicon Valley, and I just wanted to share with you all what I learned from it. So to give you a little bit background, I was in the Silicon Valley for 3 months on a job rotation. I was working at Deutsche Telekom, and I had an opportunity to do a job rotation in the Silicon Valley in San Francisco, sorry, not Frankfurt. And I was, I was responsible for partnering with AI startups to find partners for Deutsche Telekom. And yeah, so I was having fun. I was having fun with the colleagues, with the city. As you can see, it was a love affair. I was just enjoying myself, and it was just a nice time to be there. It was during spring in San Francisco. I think I just enjoyed just being there, and it was a very fabulous experience. As you can see, I'm enjoying myself with my colleagues, with my friends. And then because I was responsible for finding AI startups, I was very privileged, and I could go to a lot of places in Silicon Valley. I was at Facebook, I was at Google, I was at Stanford, and I don't know, this Silicon Valley was really a big, like, I don't know if many of you maybe who have been there, you can surely understand me. It feels different. There is a vibe in the air. There is this, everybody, anything is possible, right? Anything is possible. Can it all be so simple? And I felt like, you know, like this fearless girl in front of a bull, as you can see on the picture on the right, the small one on the bottom right. And I felt like, anything is possible. And can it all be so simple? And I was just privileged to be there. And I was searching AI startups at that time, and it was just a fun time to be. There was a lot of vibe on artificial intelligence, and I was in the tech area, and yeah, it just fitted so well. Well, anyway, so I was working in the financial district, and as you can see from the top left, I was having fun, as I said, with my colleagues, and then I found an idea, a $500,000 idea, I would say, because somebody even said, you will surely get investment for that. The idea was very simple. And just in a brainstorming with a couple of people, we found out that, you know, why don't we recommend charities, because we were all social, and I was a news junkie. I was reading Washington Post, New York Times. And I was thinking, when I read any article in the internet, why I'm not recommended, just like Amazon would recommend you some products after you bought something, some charity that would fit to that cause. And yeah, so that was the idea. I found a co-founder in the group, and yeah, I was at the top of the world. It was like, everything is possible. I was just having fun. And I was just believing in it so much, you know, like I was really believing in the idea a lot, because we got good people. And I felt like I was working in a corporate company, and this is my chance, you know, this is entrepreneurship. And as I said, Silicon Valley, all the vibe is entrepreneurship, you know, all the big companies came from there. So yeah, it got me. Yeah, but the unfortunate thing, and my fuck up was, the things went south with my co-founder. it started because of the fact that I was working a full-time job in San Francisco, and she was at that time unemployed, or she was not in a job. And so I expected more from her. And then the fight started with just like a sentence on WhatsApp. I have not posted the right WhatsApp. It's a fake one, by the way. But I started with a WhatsApp, like, what do you do all day because you're not working? And yeah, this was like where the mistrust started. I don't know, I was just fed up a little bit because I was working full time, and then I was working really passionately on this idea. That was getting on my nerves, that some messages didn't get answered, there was not responsiveness. And so we had like smaller fights, you can say, about the idea. It was critical and so on. Is it going to work? But there was reconciliation, and yeah, but the lack of communication made me even like more insecure than I was, because I was so invested in the idea. And I was just, I wanted to make it a success. And I was just fed up with the attitude of the co-founder, who was maybe not that heavily invested as me in the idea. And then the fight started. So it started with the WhatsApp messages like, what do you do all day? And then it started like, is this priority, this project like priority for you? And we had like a big fight where we went, where we really fought a really hard fight, and the idea crumbled in that way on that day. And the basic part of the idea was that I didn't understand that my co-founder, and she didn't understand me, that I was heavily invested. I was very committed. I wanted to see it through. And this person was maybe more reasonable, but was not maybe willing to commit. And the priority levels were different, let's say it like this. But anyway, so we had a big fight. And then funnily, this person tried to steal then one of the tech people who were programming at that time for the idea. And that tech person came through my contacts in India. So I was like, what is happening? If you're not, this is not a priority, like what are you going, like stealing that person now, my like the first programmer on board. And yeah, so it was like really ugly. I didn't feel good. And yeah, so all this was a big fuck up. And I was in emotional jail. I was embarrassed in front of my colleagues. I wanted to do a big pitch and wanted to pitch on some of the Silicon Valley places. There are so many startup battles or whatever. And I felt like I'm nothing. I felt really bad. Most importantly, I felt that I felt embarrassed, actually. That might have been the thing, with the ego and everything going on. And yeah, I was thinking I'm a fearless, I'm like, I'm going to do it and going to be like entrepreneur. And then the reality was like completely different. I came back to the reality. Let's say it like this. I came to understand why it went wrong. Oh, so 1 more minute, I think. Yeah, the big lesson is what I can take away. I don't know if you guys also see it. I said, ta-da. I mean, life goes on. However hard this was, maybe the worst mistake or worst thing was that I didn't appreciate that person's concerns about the idea. Maybe I should have been more serious. And I don't know, I was just so heavily invested that I didn't want to see the critical aspects. And I decided to change a lot in my behavior because I was so direct. Because that person was not working, then I said, what are you doing all day? That kind of hurt that person. And I should have been more careful about this. I was not really very diplomatic. And I was just like, because I was so heavily invested, I wanted to see it become a success. And somebody had told me that, this idea could get a big investment, or at least a good funding, seed funding and so on. And I have decided to start over. It took me some time, but right now, this is Givetastic. This is the idea, which is like the sequence of the idea that I was working on. It does recommend you charities, but it recommends charities for employees. And right now we did a pilot, which went very good. And it's a donation app actually for companies. So companies can create a wallet for their employees, and employees can donate to a cause that they care about in the app. You can check us out on the website. And this is how the app will look when we launch it. It's at the beta, at the moment in beta testing for Germany. So just feel free to give feedback as well. Yeah, so basically this was my fuck up. and I'm open for questions.
Thank you, Vidya. I think people are starting to type in the questions. I will start maybe with one. I
Okay.
find particularly your story very interesting because you were a very good friend of your co-founder.
Mhm.
At the end, it didn't work out.
Yeah.
You think now in retrospective that maybe starting something with a friend can be a bit problematic, or do you think that it was due to the characteristics of the work that you were doing? Maybe you were stressed. So reformulating the question is, do you think that co-founding with a friend can be successful, or there is the risk that something can happen and basically you're losing your friendship?
Yeah, it's a good question. To be honest, I mean, we knew each other well, but I wouldn't say like a very dear friend or something. So it was still a relationship where we came together for working on ideas. And I just, I don't know. I mean, I think friendship should be always more precious, right? And it becomes a very difficult and ugly fight if you are working with a friend and that friend doesn't really, maybe doesn't share the passion enough or whatever, and then there will be always conflicts. And it's very, very difficult to find a good co-founder in general anyway. So there are people who are successful with friends, and there are people who have broken up with friends. And what I feel I regret is that that person was valuable to me. That person was a good friend, and in and I think we could have solved it some other way. And at that time I was so heavily invested in the idea that I didn't care about. I didn't care about. I did care about, but I thought the way I did it was not correct because I didn't learn how to work with other people. And I think Ronald has already shown that you can establish some processes or ways how you can deal with such things. But the emotional heartbreak is always there, right? With conflicts, it's not easy.
I have another question, but I will give now time to the questions coming up. So the first one is, at which point did you commit 100% to your startup and left your 9 to 5 job?
Yeah, so I committed completely to my startup. Like after I came back from the Silicon Valley, it took me like 1 year. I still worked at the company, 1.5 years, to be honest. And then at some point, I realized I can't really do it. Otherwise, I have to be completely committed. And in September 2018, I got out of the company. And to be really, really honest, I committed to the Givetastic now since April last year. So then I'm really working like completely go in. That is one of the learnings that I found, that you can't have a startup if you're just doing it on the back burner.
So you have to go, let's say, 100%.
Yeah.
The next question is, why didn't you continue with the idea yourself or with another?
Actually, funnily, I did continue with the idea. So we did create the Chrome browser plugin. But I never had the courage to launch it completely. But it works. Like, when I show people, they were very astonished. Okay, it just understands what's the context of the thing you're reading, and it gives you 3 charities. That's pretty cool. But we found out that the business model is quite difficult for such things, and then we found out an idea where I'm also like passionate about, with the social engagement in companies. And I thought, that is the idea which companies or B2B market may be more willing. So that's where I am right now. And we are pre-launch. We will launch the app in some weeks.
So there is a next question. Do you think that things would have gone differently if you would not have sent the message you sent?
Yeah, I think this WhatsApp is a bad communication guide. And sometimes, you write something, but you can't really tell the person how you mean it, the tone of the conversation. Yeah, I think it would have gone differently if I had handled it differently. Let's say it like this. I should have spoken like more face to face, but I was so scared to do face to face WhatsApp was the easier way. And the WhatsApp messages, you know, yeah, then the whole thing comes out. We did have a fight. It culminated into a fight, as I said at the end. But if I'd handled it before, or if we had just found a way, you know, that maybe she doesn't work, then it would have been also easier.
So I would say we take the last one. I will keep mine for later for the after party. So the next one is, do people expect too much too soon these days? I think that is related to the startup. You decided
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think I did the mistake of expecting too much too soon. Like, we just started in the idea, and 1 month later somebody told us we'll get a seed investment, and I was like, yeah, of course. And in the Silicon Valley, right, at that time, people were like, investors were investing. I think in the Valley, it is true that you might get some good investment early, and you might be successful very fast. But I have seen in Germany, you can't do that. I mean, it takes a long time, but it's also good sometimes that ideas take some time to be mature. I think in general, we all expect things faster than they come. And I have learned to be patient now, and I'm okay. I mean, as far as I can achieve my goals, I'm fine with it. So I have learned that mistake as well, that it doesn't come so fast. It takes a lot of hard work, and it takes a big team and a good team, you know, to do it, and a lot of help from everybody.
There is still one question, but I would say, if that is okay for you, we can keep it for the next for the after party that is upcoming. So we take the chance, Vidya, to thank you. I told you already, but I think it was really nice from you that you accepted to participate, having the very big background that you have and all the experience. It's really kind, and I think the people who were attending are as well very happy that you took this chance. Many thanks.
Thank you.
So I will share a few slides more. Yeah, by the way, when you started Vidya, I went to get one as well, so that you are not alone. Yes, so I will start.
Where is Ronald's? I don't know. Where is your beer, Ronald? The Peruvian. What was the name? I didn't get
true.
it. Yeah, where is your beer? I mean, like.
I have some empty bottles. If I drink, then I have to do some stuff afterwards, and I cannot focus. But I have some bottles here.
You should be the one having it. So, well, we are done more or less with the three speakers, but as we commented, we have the chance to have now the after party. The idea of the after party is obviously to get to know each other, to do some networking. I think we have a blessing today that we have different people joining from different countries. So at least I am sure that we have people from Mexico, Peru, and Germany. So that's really great. We would like them to use the time to network and to answer further questions that you might have. Before we do that, I wanted to give you just few comments regarding FuckUps. So actually, we do have the same format for private FuckUp nights. So that means companies are working as well with the organization. The organization is providing the concept, the space to run similar events. There is already a big knowledge and a big working together with companies, big ones and small ones. So in case that you or your company would like to have a similar event, you can always let us know. We can organize something similar for you. Personally, this I have already shared the whole time. Is I personally feel we can learn a lot from our mistakes, from our failures. So there is a big opportunity for learning and for improving the corporate culture in a more safe, vulnerable environment. Second announcement is there is as well one failure institute. They do a lot of research, like proper research on failure, which kind of knowledge can be got gotten out of failure, how to apply it in your daily life, let's say, but how to apply it as well in your professional life, in your cultural environment at work, in the corporate culture. So I can just recommend you that you have a look. They have a lot of publications, information that might be interesting for you if you like this kind of events. So I can only recommend. Obviously, a big thanks to everyone who participated, and especially to Jade, who was supporting a lot during the presentation today, but she was doing as well a lot when we were preparing the whole event. The sponsors, the team. So yeah, a lot of people involved. Many thanks for that. But as I commented, we are not finishing because now we are going to start the after party. And before starting the after party, just the last announcement is that obviously we are, as I commented, we are now restarting the event here in Frankfurt. It's the first online event that we are having. So obviously I think we are going to have a lot of opportunities to improve. We are very happy to get to know from your point of view as attendee what could be improved for the next time. The idea is that we are having this event every second or third month. So you are going to be receiving information as well. You can always reach us via email or in our Instagram. We're going to share with you all the information from the speakers that were today, from the sponsors, and from FuckUp, so that you get to have the information from each one, that you can reach us as well easily. Any feedback is very welcome. Now, just to let you know, in the next part, that is the after party, we would like as well to invite you. Now, maybe you are inspired by the stories of Vidya, Daniela, and Ronald. So maybe you would think now, hey, there is a story. I think it is a FuckUp. Maybe it's a small one. I would like to share it now here in the forum. We still have quite a lot of participants, so maybe it will be a good opportunity as well for you to say something. Maybe you want to share something. For that, we are able to make you a panelist so that you appear as well with your camera on the monitor. You can let us know. If you want to be a panelist, send a message please in the box, in the comments box, or you can raise your hand. You can share your story. You can ask any of the speakers. You can ask us any question you have, or you can interact with each other. I think the people who are in this kind of events are people who are like-minded. So it will be a great opportunity for networking now. We didn't focus, or we didn't close it to 1 hour. So basically we start now, and the longer you want to stay, or you can stay, the longer we're going to be there for the networking. The idea again is that we are open, that we are participating, so that the whole thing makes sense. So having said that, then I think we can move to the after party.